investors who request so. Everyone, you would have noticed you're on mute. This is just so we're able to talk through the slides as required. There will be a Q&A at the end of the session to ensure you have the opportunity to ask questions. There is a chat function, and there are a couple of team members on the line as well who will be monitoring this, and we will obviously answer the questions towards the end. So if you have any questions throughout whilst I'm talking, please just jot them down, or feel free at the end of the session to ask those questions as well. The format really is just a few slides. I think there's about 10 or 12 slides that will walk you through just an introduction to the business, how things work, and then obviously the Q&A to allow for anybody to ask as many questions as you would like to get comfortable with yielders and the process of investing. So without further ado, we'll get started. So Yielders, who are we? Yielders is the first FCA regulated Islamic fintech platform in the UK. We provide simplified earnings for competitive returns from real estate investments all throughout the UK. These investment opportunities are accessible. The minimum investment is £100. They're simple in terms of very easy to use and understand via our award-winning platform, and assured with 100% equity-backed assets that are owned with our Sharia certified SPV structures. So as I've mentioned already, we are directly authorized by the Financial Conduct Authority, who globally have a very high standard in relation to financial services regulation and ensuring that the utmost standards are withheld in the way that we conduct business, transact, and obviously in terms of the reporting, so quarterly reporting that we are due to do with them. But not also this, we're in a very unique space of being Sharia certified as well. So there's a dual regulation effectively, which ensures that we comply and adhere to the rules that we set ourselves at the very beginning of this business to ensure that the investment opportunities are halal in nature and Sharia certified, which we'll go on to talk to a little bit later. We have investment now from all over the world, actually over 20 different countries. I think we're close to the 40 countries mark now in terms of where we have had investment for, so very much a global presence and a competitive performance. So not only do we provide a halal way of investing, but also we ensure that the investment opportunities that we have are competitive in nature to traditional financial institutions as well. So, you know, we're not just siloing ourselves, but we want to provide this service to everybody and want people to enjoy the returns that are on offer, which are competitive against traditional financial institutions as well. A little bit about our journey and where we've come from. So as I was saying, we're heading towards the 6th year of the business being since sort of the end of 2015, early 2016. In 2016, we actually did a beta release of the platform. So this was a very early stage skin of the platform just to be able to get to market. We submitted our regulatory submission back in 2016. In 2017, we achieved that authorization by the FCA and also had our Sharia certification. At this point in 2017, we were hugely grateful and proud to have won the Global Islamic Economy Award presented to us by the royal family in Dubai, which was a fantastic accolade for our efforts in the Islamic fintech space. In 2018, we did a small pre-Series A fundraising round to help develop all the technology in-house. And in preparation for Brexit, also seeked regulation in a number of other European jurisdictions. In 2019, alhamdulillah, we had a very successful Series A funding round, which allowed us to raise funds to be able to scale the business. We did a scale up of the technology and relaunched an automated secondary market function, which allowed for investors to be able to sell shares, which we'll also go on and talk about. Last year was, again, an interesting year. I think everybody with the COVID situation, but you know, we were able to really go leaps and bounds with our technology, developing open banking APIs, a complete overhaul of the front end of the platform as well. So, you know, this is the best design and UI and UX that we've had since we started, and obviously continued to grow our investor and user base. this year really is looking to continue to provide more and more products to our investors, whilst also increasing our scope and ensuring that there is more investment opportunities available to everybody further afield. And then there's some key points along the bottom. So we're close to 8,000 users now. We have had 5 full cycle investments that have started and ended with us. We've got now close to £12 million of assets under management, which we are looking to scale quite significantly across this year. A reinvestment rate of 72%. So, you know, with the lowest entry being £100, we have a lot of people that come in, test the platform, understand it with the use of £100, and which actually leads to quite a high reinvestment rate that we have, which is, you know, testament to the ease of use and also the product on offer. An average rate of return achieved so far across the 5 years that we've been open for business. So an average of a 4.3% net yield, which has been achieved, and an 8% annualized return. So that's rental income plus any capital appreciation, which has been achieved. We currently have 19 active limited company SPVs, or assets as we like to call them, which are in flight and income is being distributed on a monthly basis with. So that's just a background of our journey so far, where we've come to, in the sort of scale that we've seen over the past 5 years. Now, the question that we get asked quite a lot is why people should be investing. I think this is something which has definitely come to the forefront of society, specifically over the last sort of 12 months while everyone has been in this lockdown situation. You know, people seem to have a lot more time, and there is a lot happening in the market, be it with real estate, cryptocurrencies, and generally stock market investing. A lot more people are tuned in and thinking about investing and growing their wealth. Now, for us, the important part of this are the 3 elements that you can see on your screen at the moment. We decided very early on to create a product which was easy to understand. You know, bricks and mortar real estate investing is a very traditional investment opportunity. So the product for us made a lot of sense, incorporating also the experience with some of the team members that we've had. So really, the 3 main reasons why we push people to invest and get people thinking about investing is to look at growing your wealth. You know, that is the most important factor around all of this. You know, as Muslims, we generally tend not to have any interest-bearing accounts or have anything to do with interest. So growing your wealth passively, which, you know, allows for you not to be substituting your time or your effort for growing your wealth. You know, that is the product that we've tried to create here. So allowing investors to, rather than have money that's sat in a bank account, or, you know, in some instances cash which may be stored in under the bed or you know, in holes in the wall, whatever you may decide to do with your money. This really is an opportunity for you to grow your wealth in a halal way, you know, investing with us and allowing rental income as a way to be able to add value to your existing capital that you've got. You know, this is very important, rather than just having your money sat in a bank account, or, as I've said, stored in cash somewhere, which actually ultimately loses value because of inflation. So the price of goods and whatever going up in this country, more money being printed, for example, would actually lose value in your savings. You know, you would have noticed this simple example that everybody gives: the price of a Freddo chocolate bar 10 to 15 years ago was, you know, 5 to 10 pence. Now you go into a shop, it's, you know, 35, 40p, and that is a result of inflation. So the same goes for the value of your money. The passive income element, which is, I've already sort of touched upon, you know, your money working for you. You could be earning a return with us without having to lift a finger. You know, the moment that you've decided to invest with us, that is it really, from the hard work. And I say that in inverted commas because it really isn't very difficult. And allowing your money to passively grow, where you're not spending time or effort growing your money, being at work or whatever you may need to do otherwise to increase your wealth. It's a way for you to passively earn from your rental income from us. And the final point, which I think is extremely pertinent, is compounding your returns. So actually the e-wallet and the platform structure that we've created and devised allows for you to keep your funds securely and safely on the platform and continue to reinvest those. By doing so, you're compounding the effects of the returns that are available. So, for example, within 1 year, if you earn that 8%, which we showed you a little bit earlier, rather than taking that money out, is reinvesting that onto the platform and allowing that to then generate further income and continually to do so. And you know, there are huge amounts of benefits for this, as I said, rather than having funds that are just sat there saving. And, you know, I'm not saying savings are a bad thing. It's obviously good to have that. But I think in terms of financial literacy and people starting now to understand the benefits of investing and growing your wealth, a platform like that a platform like Yielders will ensure that you're able to do so in a transparent, effective, and consumable manner. You know, it's something that we've designed and made the process easy to use and easy to understand for all different types of investors. So I think this is something that very much the community needs to get much better at. There hasn't really been huge halal investment opportunities available to us for a very long time. We are now lucky to be involved in a technological world where opportunities like this are becoming more and more available, which I think is what investors really, and the general public, need to start tapping into for generational wealth purposes, to grow generational wealth, but also to have that passive income and understand that you're able to earn an income away from your day jobs. So I touched upon before the different types of investors. This again is hugely paramountly important to what we do. So the three types of investors that we have are your everyday investor. So these are your day-to-day retail investors who are able to invest from as little as £100 and a maximum, dependent on what your circumstances are, but we generally say £10,000. This gives you access to everything that you can see on the platform, which are income generating rental properties yielding anywhere between 4 to 6% net per annum. And that is the key word in what we describe it is net. So this is void of all costs and fees. We factored all of that in. So the returns that you see on our platform are actually what you are expected to achieve. And we have paid a dividend out to all of our retail investors on the 1st of every month for 65 months now and counting. That's a fantastic feat and testament to our fantastic operational team and technology team who are able to process thousands of transactions on a monthly basis and make sure that every month you're getting your dividends as if you're a buy-to-let landlord. So it's becoming a landlord, but without the hassle associated with having to manage any of the issues that arise through property management. The next two types of investors we have, sophisticated and high net worth. Both of these classify as top yielders. You have to go through a little bit more of a rigorous onboarding and due diligence process for this. Minimum ticket items from £25,000 to £50,000. You get access to all of the off-market pre-funding deals that we have available, and also some development projects which we can go on to talk to you about as well, which are slightly higher risk and higher reward investment opportunities. But we have, the basis of the business is effectively trying to be the one-stop shop for real estate investment from an equity-based perspective. So there are different types of deals and products that we're able to offer for sophisticated and high net worth individuals. As I've mentioned, that is the slightly higher risk and higher reward type investment opportunities that we have available to us. Now, how does all of this work? I'm sure everybody's, that's gone a bit too far. Nothing like my laptop deciding to freeze. Okay, there we go. So how does all of this work in terms of what you see on the platform versus what is happening in the background at Yielders? So at point number one, we have a network of agents, deal flow partners, developers, etc., who are continuously providing us with different types of deal flow. We've got an investment analyst team who carefully vet all of these opportunities against our very strict criteria, various thresholds that need to be matched. So the due diligence that we conduct on each of the opportunities is very significant. We understand all of the financial viability of any of the deals that we get. We understand the locations, where in particular areas we would like to purchase properties, given the below market value aspect, and also where we anticipate there to be growth. So once all of this has happened, each of the assets have a investment committee pack designed and created for it. So this is then passed on to a investment committee who review, assess, and understand the viability of the deal and sign off whether we will begin to progress with it and actually acquire the asset. Stage number 2 is we have a standardized legal structure, a special purpose vehicle, SPV, which effectively is just a limited company. So each of the assets that we acquire are purchased within a separate limited company, each of them. So this is set up and created. Prior to the acquisition of the asset, sort of 3 and 4 are done in conjunction. So we know before we actually acquire the asset what rental agreement we have in place. Now, having now done this for 5 years, we've figured out the best contracts that we have are full repair and insure lease agreements. So these are generally tier 1 lease agreements with other businesses. So, local housing authorities, charities, local council, these sorts of things, that we know that we will sign a contract with them and they will give us a rental income for an annualized rental income figure for a period of time. So we will have 5, 10 or 15-year full repair and insure leases, which minimizes void periods and ensures that we maximize the profit for our investors. Against what we have done and trialed across a few years is privately let ASTs. So these are assured short-term rental agreements, anywhere between 6 to 12 months. Obviously, the risk of void for these are a lot higher. We have a few of these in the portfolio, but now are veering towards having just the full 5 to 10-year FRI leases. So we know what sort of income we're going to be achieving over a period of time, rather than having potential gaps in tenancies where investors, the underlying tenants may move out, or there may be some issues with the property. So, having done this for a number of years now, we've found the niche of the product. And not only that, from a product perspective, but it also ties into our ethos and ethical nature of the business of providing economical and social good investment opportunities. So having a hand in helping towards housing crises throughout the UK, and just generally having a more solid base of a rental agreement. So effectively at point number 4, the asset has been acquired. We have a lease agreement agreed with it already. So it's an income generating asset at this point. And that is a point at which you will see it then listed on our platform and offered to the crowd. That is a point that investors are able to start investing with from as little as £100. So small or large denominations come in, walk through all of the details of the platform. So what you'll see when you decide to invest with us is very much similar to like a Zoopla or a Rightmove type page, where all of the information around the property is available. There's a financial summary for each of the investment opportunities as well. So you're able to understand all of the costs associated with acquisition, the legal fees, our fees, everything is transparent and there for you to be able to assess and make a decision. We also have an investment calculator per investment opportunity. So you're able to put in what investment amount you would like to see, whether that be £1,000, £10,000, whatever it may be, and it calculates what the returns are available to you based on what the income is for that property. So again, allowing investors to make that informed decision by themselves about what they want to invest in. And really, from your perspective as an investor, that's it. Once you've invested, you are communicated to on a monthly basis when you've had rental income that's landed. If anything does happen throughout the investment term, we clearly explain what has happened. If there's a boiler to break down, a gas leak or a leak from the taps, then we take control of that. We fix the situation and obviously communicate that back out to investors. In the cases that there is any damage caused to the property, we have got an accrual that we take from the rental income, which again is clear and transparent for everybody to see. But if for any reason there is any additional works required to the property throughout the tenancy, there may be a reduced rental income for that month. It obviously all just depends on the process and understanding what may have gone wrong if anything does go wrong, which again aligns to the inherent nature of the Sharia for this, which is nothing is guaranteed. Anything could go wrong. We've obviously done everything we can to mitigate against any of the risks, but there is an inherent risk with real estate investing, which is why across any of our investment opportunities or any marketing we do, you will always see a risk warning, because ultimately it is a risk, even though we do everything we can to ensure that those risks are mitigated against. And that really is it. Point number 6, as I said, on a monthly basis, you're going to be receiving a dividend email to say, right, you've got your rental income that's landed. And then, it's your decision whether you want to take those funds from the platform, reinvest them, compound them, whatever you decide to do at that point is your decision to make. So hopefully that gives you an indication of the process that we follow in terms of the work that's done behind the scenes to be able to provide these opportunities, and then the interaction with yourselves and the platform as you decide to go on this investment journey with us. I'm just going to hand over now to my colleague Marwa, who's the senior technical lead at the business, who's just going to talk you through the platform and some features around this, and also show you a short video of investing and how simple it really is.
Assalamualaikum everyone. Thank you, Zishan, for the introduction. I think most of the points you've covered already. However, I just want to drill down a bit more on the website and its capabilities. So what do we mean by more than just a website? Yes, on the forefront, it seems like a simple website that's giving you a set of properties to invest into. However, we've actually automated most of the processes that we have in place. So from the user onboarding to the entire sign-up process end to end, which takes in under 3 minutes, you could open up an account and be all set up for an investment. The profile page, which you can conduct a lot of your activities through, including changing over your self-certification, which has been touched upon. So say, for instance, if you've changed your self-certification midway, you've applied to become a top yielder, you can change that from sophisticated to top yielder to a high net worth investor. You can set up a direct debit. You can add funds, withdraw funds, and apply to become a top yielder as well through their profile. The actual My Portfolio page is great because it actually gives you a full breakdown and analytics of all of your investments, what your earnings have been over a period of 12 months, 6 months, or 3 months, and also gives you a full breakdown or an audit trail of any investments that you have made or diluted for that purpose. You've also got so the entire investment process is also automated. We've made available the secondary investments, secondary relisted market opportunities available through the website as well. So if you wanted to dilute your investments midway through an investment, you can do that through your profile. And we receive a request, which is very liquid. The relisted market has been quite liquid over the last few years from what we have seen. We've also recently developed the pre-funding facility. So this is for our high net worth investors who wish to invest and pre-fund into the assets that we acquire. This process has also been automated, and so all of our high net worth investors are able to make an investment through the platform. You can access the website from anywhere in the world. It's mobile friendly, and you can basically look at each of the assets and work out your returns based on the investment calculator, which each of these investments come with. So you can see a snapshot of it on the right side of the featured properties. But if you were to actually click on the asset and scroll down, you'll see the full size of it. Ziz, do you want to move on to the next slide, please? This is a very short video on how to conduct an investment through the platform. So it's quite simple. You log in to with your username and password. You go and look at all of the investment opportunities that are available. Currently, we have Freight House, the Freight building open for investment, you can see that it's got the funding bar does not this is not the deciding factor for whether you get your dividend paid or not. This is actually you will get your dividend paid regardless of whether this achieves 100%. You simply download 2 of the AOA and IM documents that accompany any asset, and you enter your amount. So any investment over £1,000 has got stamp duty, 0.5% stamp duty that is payable. Anything under that, as you can see, the stamp duty is 0 on that, and you simply click on the Invest Now button, and then you've registered your investment into the asset. And that's it. Congratulations, your investment has been successful. And you can see on the top right corner, you've got my profile, my portfolio, where you can actually go and have a look at your investments that you have made. So all investments are settled at the end of the month, which means any rental income received will then be reflected on the first day of the month after you have, on the first day of 1 month in arrear, you will receive your first income. So if you were to invest today, for instance, your first rental income would be made on the 1st of July, and thereafter it will be the first of each month. Again, through my profile, as I've touched upon that already, you're able to look at your transaction histories, apply to become a top yielder, and you can export your transactions. This is quite helpful for tax purposes or for people who want to file away their tax returns. And that's everything.
Thank you, Mara, much appreciated.
Thank
So
you,
just upon some of the features that Mara has talked about. So, as I said, the actual investment page, we've made it look very much like a Zoopla in terms of the information, location, photographs, the investment calculator, the actual investment process, typing in the amount that you want to invest. It gives you a breakdown of the amount of shares that you will own in whatever asset you're investing in. And then all of the details in the back end is very much similar to what you're used to with regards to your internet banking. So you'd have your transactional export, so to show all of the incomings, outgoings of each of your transactions. You've got a dashboard which shows the analytics of your investment. You're able to update all of your general information and your security information, apply for top yielders, set up a direct debit. So all of this is, we've tried to make it as close to other platforms that you may already use and understand well, so it's not a deviation too much away from what people are used to, but also having that simple and easy to use and understand process of actually investing into the real estate, which is what was run through on the video. So yeah, I mean, we've invested very heavily into the technology. It's a cornerstone of the business. It's a fintech business at the end of the day. Marrying up traditional financial processes with the advancement of technology and providing a simple, easy to use platform for our end investor was the goal. Now, the key elements of investing with us. So our pledges to you coming on board and becoming investors with us. Ethically minded investment real estate opportunities in the UK, fully authorized by the FCA. I've also already touched upon this, but just speaking about it again, the dual regulation specifically. So, we are held to a very high global standard from the Financial Conduct Authority in terms of regulation, but also perform a annualized Sharia certification and audit of the business. So just touching upon that specifically, rather than being Sharia compliant, we decided very on that we would have a Sharia based business. Now, in order to simplify this for people, it's based on 3 very simple core Islamic finance principles. The first and most important is obviously there is no interest or riba associated with any of our products. So no financial institution or any leverage whatsoever associated with any of our products. They are completely equity based. The second being you're investing in an asset class which is not volatile in nature. if you look at the last 30 years trajectory of real estate in this country, there has been a general upwards trend. Of course, there have been some issues. 2008, for example, the general macroeconomic crisis, which did cause depreciative effects. But generally speaking, you know what you're getting with real estate. There is a growth trend of that. And the third and final is ensuring that everybody has a risk and reward balance within this. So, you are all shareholders within each of the limited company structures. You are all sharing in the risk associated with that, but also in the reward of whatever amount of income is available is then being evenly distributed dependent on your shareholding. So, rather than taking any complex financial structures and adapting the legal jargon around them and making them Sharia compliant, we have these three very simple core principles that we do not deviate away from to ensure that the product is kept in line with this ethical and Sharia certified slant that we have available to us. So the next pledge, obviously, assets free from debt or leverage always. I just touched upon that. So ensuring that there is no leverage associated with our products. It's all equity based, which helps us steer clear away from any interest associated with a product. Rental income, which is paid as a dividend to your e-wallet on the first day of every month. As I said, it's very similar to being a buy-to-let landlord without any of the hassle associated with it. You get this email every single month to say, right, your rental income has landed, and that is it. You're able to share in the return. No hidden fees or charges. As I said, there is a financial summary document with every single one of our investment opportunities, which gives you a complete breakdown of everything associated with that opportunity, what it costs to buy, the legal fees associated with it, stamp duty that we've paid, the yielder's fee, any deductions that we make from the rental income for corporation tax, for accruals, for any renovations. All of that is very simple profit and loss statement provided to everybody, so you're able to make an informed decision for yourself. A diversified selection of properties that are added regularly. So we have assets all throughout the country, London, the Southeast, the Midlands, up north as far as Middlesbrough. So really all over the country, and we want to continue to be able to provide that diversified view for our investor base. A friendly and attentive team on the end of the line. So we are active across all social media platforms. We have an automated chat bot as well. So, at the end of that, there is always a team member ready to help you with a query, phone lines, and obviously email addresses as well that you're able to contact the team on. There is a knowledge hub on the platform, which outlines, there's a number of different articles, effectively very similar to an FAQs, but absolutely every question that you could ever imagine needing an answer to in relation to our product is available there. Some with some really good views and descriptions of how to use the platform, etc. But yeah, if all else fails, you're more than welcome to pick up the phone or interact with us during our chat function on the platform. And clear, open and honest communication about who we are and what we do. We recognize very early on building trust and building a solid reputation with our investor base is the only way that we're going to be able to grow and provide this continued service to our investor base. So it's of paramount importance to us, the transparent nature of what we do, but also we don't ever coerce people into investing. You are the decision maker in your investment journey with us. You make the decision about how you want to invest, how much you want to invest, how often you want to invest. You're in complete control of your investment opportunity at all times. We are just here to facilitate the process for you and ensure that you have a smooth investment journey with us. That's the purpose of what we do, rather than advising and pushing anyone to investing. It is all managed and handled by you, the end user.
Ishan, I'm just going to add a point about the technology with regards to the auto investment tool. So this is something we're looking to develop. I believe that will make things a lot easier, because we do have a lot of our investors asking whether they can, we do have the direct debit facility, however, accompanying that should be the auto investment tool, which we're looking to develop very soon, and it should allow all our investors to be able to invest into assets, selecting certain criteria for a property, and for that to go ahead without them having to actually log into their profiles.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what you can see on your screen now is two very different examples of full life cycle investment opportunities that we have had at Yielders. So starting on the left-hand side, this was the very first asset that we listed in 2016. It was a 3-year term. We had a conservative projection of 39.86%, which was due to be just over a 5% net yield per annum. So 3 years full of 5% net return plus a projected 23.3% capital appreciation, which is what we had originally projected. So as you can see, this was the performance of the asset. This was what the projection was of 5.8% net per annum. As you can see, we overachieved in some aspects, and then there was some works that needed to be done in the asset in 18 months in. So that reduced the yield significantly. And then we went back up to full occupancy for a period of close to a year. Then there was another slight depreciation element. I think there was a boiler that needed to be replaced at this point, which reduced the rental income for that particular month. And then we went back up to normal levels. So as you can see, although we tried to do everything to mitigate the returns, there is always risks associated with any real estate investment opportunity. But as you can see, against what we'd originally projected, 3 years worth of 18%, versus we actually achieved 19.89% over that 3-year period. We conservatively projected a 23% uplift in the property value from year 1 to year 3. We actually achieved a 35% appreciative value. So we originally projected a 35% return. We achieved a 55% return. This again aligns to our ethos of not over egging any of our investment opportunities. We conservatively project, and actually we want to get to the end of the investment opportunity and want investors to be pleasantly surprised that they've overachieved rather than wondering where the rest of their returns are that we promised at the very beginning. So this is just an example of a fantastic opportunity we had, and a 3-year period, a 55% return for investors for doing absolutely nothing. So this was a really great use case. Now the second one that you can see was an opportunity we had available in Milton Keynes. As you can see, it got listed in July 2017 and was due for exit slap bang in the middle of a COVID lockdown year last year. So we reached the end of the investment term, end of the 3 years, and we went out to the market and tried to get an offer in. So we listed the asset after a revaluation. We had been overachieving on the rental income over the entire period. What this is the end of the tenancy. It ended, I think, a month or two before the end of the year. So there was a sharp decrease. So for 2 months at the end of the year, in I think it was May and June last year, there was no rental income being produced. At that point, we were trying to dispose of the asset. Obviously, in the middle of a COVID year, the valuation was nowhere near what we anticipated it to be. Valuing an asset in the middle of a global pandemic obviously is not an ideal situation. But what this proves and gives the ability for the flexibility of the platform, rather than disposing of the asset and resulting in a capital loss for any of our investors, we got a new lease agreement. So we put the asset up for rental income again, had a new tenant that moved in, started paying rental income post that point, and we will look to exit this particular deal towards July again this year. So we're going to have a valuation done probably in the next few weeks. And then we will go to the open market trying to dispose of this asset. So again, this is just testament to the flexibility that we're able to offer, rather than coming to the end of a 3-year term and there being a loss for investors because there's been a global pandemic and macroeconomic conditions causing a loss to capital. We reapplied a lease agreement, allowed investors to continue to earn for another year. And then we will look to dispose of the asset in a more buoyant market where there has been macroeconomic revisions and increases in the marketplace. So, again, this is just touching a point that not everything will work as smoothly and as perfectly as this fantastic opportunity that we have in Gravesend. But even if there is any issues, we're able to provide an opportunity to investors to ensure that they will continue to earn, and there is flexibility in our offerings rather than there being a rigid exit, which I think again is testament to our processes and our business model effectively. We have touched upon Prefunding, which is a product. If there are any high net worths on the call, or any people looking to invest larger ticket items, this is a fantastic opportunity. We actually describe this as a very liquid savings account. You effectively join the community of top yielders. You're presented all of the off-market opportunities which are available to us in our pipeline. We effectively use the top yielders funds to anchor invest. So these are the funds that are used to go and purchase the assets. So any of the top yielders get the first month's rental income all distributed between themselves. And then we list it on the platform. Smaller denomination investors come and invest, and we do a share transfer. So effectively that capital that small investors come and pay and acquire with is then redistributed back out to the high net worth individuals. So you have the opportunity to hold your original stake, 25% of it for the investment term, and continue to earn dividends. But it's a way for you to recycle funds and continue to deploy your money against a geographically diverse portfolio, and also allows you to earn returns for the first few months and then potentially on 25% of your equity for the entire term, and have 75% of your capital paid back to you to then invest into other properties. So yeah, it's a product that I think we have, it's been a fantastic success. The larger we're able to grow this pool of high net worths, the more properties we're going to be able to offer people. So it's a fantastic opportunity. And I think, as I said before, large sums of money which are being stored away in bank accounts losing value, this is something that allows you to continually earn from and earn a return against that capital outlay that you may have. If there is anyone on the call who would like specifically to discuss this in a bit more detail, just drop us a note in the question or raise your hand, and we'll get in contact about this specifically. I think the final point that we wanted to touch upon is Zakat in relation to your investment opportunities with us. So obviously there are two types of Zakat available on your retail and the top yield investments should you partake in them with us. So for the retail investments, you pay Zakat on the income of the dividend that you've earned for the last 12 months. So whatever income that's come into your e-wallet, that is Zakatable income because it's a return that you've earned. In the final year of your investment with us, you'd pay Zakat on the dividend earned within that 12 months. And if there have been any profits on the capital, when we dispose. So in the example of the Gravesend asset, when we achieved that 55% return, the Zakatable income is obviously on all of that has been achieved throughout that 3-year period once it's been paid back to you. So there's a Zakat within that given year. Generally people have their Zakat period from Ramadan to Ramadan. So within that year, if an asset has been sold and you've reaped the rewards and the benefits of that, that is Zakatable income. In terms of the top yield investments, so if your funds are currently being deployed in a development, it does not sit within your e-wallet and it is being deployed and used, that is not Zakatable income. But again, within that 12-month period, if you've had your return paid back to you and whatever on top, that is then Zakatable from that perspective. Our friends at Islamic Finance Guru, IFG, have created a Zakat calculation tool specifically for yielders. So you're able to go in there and help calculate and understand a little bit further. We have our own blog article that's posted in the Knowledge Hub all around Zakat as well to give you an indication and understanding. And there is also an entry in the Knowledge Hub which outlines the Zakat calculation and understanding of it a little bit further. But that's just that's it at a high level. I would very much point you to the tool that IFG have created, which is fantastic. I think it really helps everybody's understanding in relation to Zakat and your investments with us. So that's it in terms of the presentation. I'm sure you've had enough of me blabbering on. Appreciate all of your time listening. I have noticed there are a couple of questions which have come throughout. So I'm just going to rattle through those, and then we can touch upon anyone else who has some other questions. So the first question that's come up, I know Q&A is an end, but we'll be driving again. Do you offer opportunities to buy properties in a waqf type or similar to what we have heard about Ansar Finance? Do you offer opportunities to rent a particular property to an investor chosen by the team for people who may not want a mortgage, so that there is a dual benefit? So in terms of the waqf question, it's not something that we do. We have obviously spoken to a number of institutions which are in the Islamic finance space and waqf space about potential collaborations, and it may be something that we do going forward, but it's not something that is available to us at the moment. We obviously would be able to supply pre-packaged properties to a waqf. So yeah, it's, again, conversations have happened around this, and there may be some strategic partnerships that we're exploring in relation to that. Do we offer opportunities to rent a particular property to an investor? No, that is not something we have previously offered, but there is the opportunity to potentially do so. You know, if there is an example, you know, we do look at all of the different properties that are presented to us. So if there was an investor that came to us and said, you know, I want to purchase this house and I could potentially be the tenant for it, if the numbers worked, you know, it would still have to pass all of the due diligence and the threshold criteria that we've set out. But if it did that, then it is something that we could potentially explore. Question regarding stamp duty. So if you invest £10,000 in 10 1,000 equal parts, do you not pay stamp duty? There is a small trick around that, and I think that is pretty much what you've identified. You know, we're not directly meant to push you towards investing smaller denominations. If you were to happen to figure that out by yourself on the platform and doing so, you know, that is something that you may benefit from. I would say though, you know, 10 separate transactions, there is always a possibility that may flag with HMRC, because the official share transfer process is done so with HMRC. So would guard against it slightly, but yeah, I feel like you may have hit the nail on the head there with that question. With dividends being paid out on the first of each month, if you invest in the middle of a month, does the first dividend get prorated to include those days, or do you lose out? So I think Marwa touched upon it, that any investment from the start of the month to the end of the month is settled on the same day. So if you invest on the 1st, or if you invest on the 29th of the month, it is still settled on the last day of the month. So you become a shareholder from that last day of the month. So you start earning from the first day of the next month, and your dividend will be paid the first day of the following month. So you become an official shareholder at the end of every month. You start earning throughout the next month, and your first dividend is paid the first of the following month. So you don't technically lose out. It just depends on when your capital is tight. You know, we generally have people that invest as soon as they receive their dividends at the first of the month, and then you have an influx of people throughout the month. It really doesn't matter too much the date at which you're investing. You know, everyone becomes a shareholder on the same day. Hi there, I applied for becoming a top yielder days ago. Grateful if you could give me an update. I'll send an email reminder. Sure, no problem. We will pick that up. Thank you for your comment on that. Next question, are there any charges to one's income, dividend or sales, such as taxes? So yes, everything, as I mentioned, corporation tax is taxed at source. So you are looking at net returns. When you draw down on that dividend, it's purely dependent on your own personal tax circumstances. So, you know, you have to figure that out in terms of, you know, if you've reached the dividends tax-free allowance, which is £2,000, or what your personal tax circumstances are, drive what tax obviously you pay in relation to your investments with us. It appears you do not have many investment opportunities, i.e. only one property right now. Why? Because the other ones have sold out. There is another one becoming available, I think within the next week or so. We're just waiting for a completion date from the solicitors, so there'll be another one available. Very much will, you know, as soon as we've got a property, it will be listed. So it's just dependent on, there is obviously a lot of hard work that goes into acquiring any of these properties. So it is a very complex procedure. So we try to get as many on as quickly as possible, effectively.
Is and it just possible to add, Sorry, Z. I just want to add to that is that we're trying to maximize profits for our investors, which means we have to acquire assets under market value, which makes it a lot harder to achieve, which is why there's few of them, but they're good quality ones. That's what we're hoping to achieve for our investors. Thanks.
Is it possible to automatically invest a dividend rather than receive an e-wallet, then manually reinvest? We are working on an auto-invest function. Yes, it's something that should be available at some point across this year, excuse me. You know, although receiving your dividend in your e-wallet and manually reinvesting isn't the most tasking thing, it's fairly straightforward, but yeah, we are working on providing an automated solution for exactly that. So the compounding element, which I touched upon earlier, becomes a lot more straightforward, and you're able to use that going forward. What is the long-term goal of Yielders? Can one invest in Yielders as a company? At this moment in time, the long-term goal, and always has been, is continue to service our investor base and grow our investor base to the largest possible amount that we're able to do so. We did have a Series A fundraising round in 2019, as we touched upon, which was available on Seedrs. So there was opportunity to invest directly into the business, yes. There may be a time that we do another investment raise round where we would allow investors to invest in the business again. It's a possibility. So yeah, something to look out for, I think, as we look to scale the business. But really, the idea behind the business is to continue to scale and grow it to the point at which it is a household name, and we are providing real estate investment opportunities to everyone, everywhere. Is there a reward for one who introduces Yielders to high net worth individuals? Yes, we've got a fully functional and automated referral and affiliate program. You are given a specific link that you are then able to give to other people, and if they sign up using that link, you know, you are rewarded for every time that happens and someone actually ends up investing with us. You get a share of our fees if that is something that you are successfully able to do.
So with referral fees, just to touch on that, everyone has a unique referral link, and depending on the type of investor that you have referred, whether it's a H&W or a retail investor, you are rewarded. This information is available on the website. As soon as you log in, on the top navigation bar, you'll see refer a friend, and then there is a document that you can download and learn about the referral fees, whether it's for H&Ws or for retail investors.
I think you mentioned a new property coming soon near Leeds in a webinar a couple of months ago. Any updates on that? Yes, there is an asset that inshallah we should be listing in Bradford. We're trying to get it completed for this week. If not, it'll be early next week. And then there are a couple more in and around the Leeds area, which are, we're just working towards. They will be the next assets available on the platform over the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks post the Bradford one being listed. I would hope so by next week. Is Yielders profitable today? If it goes into trouble, is the SPV ring fenced and safe? Exactly that. So each of the SPVs are standalone businesses. So if anything was to happen to Yielders, which it won't, because we're doing all right, alhamdulillah. If there was ever anything to happen to us, your investments in each of these SPVs are ring fenced, and they are safe. You probably just wouldn't receive a monthly dividend at that point. It would go into the administration of the appointed accountancy firm, and they are likely to probably do quarterly dividends. So not a lot would change. You would still be continued to be managed via an accountancy firm that would ensure the distribution of income is as expected. But yeah, that we set up the structure and the infrastructure to accommodate exactly that, to avoid any issues between us and the investment opportunities in particular. Is Yielders available on an ISA platform? Not yet. We have been in conversation with, again, HMRC in relation to this, about being able to provide our investment opportunities in an ISA. There currently aren't any equity-based ISA offerings, so if we were to do so, it would be revolutionary in the first. We are working towards it and hope to have something available in line with that in the not too distant future. RE, the development projects, how do you manage the completion date risk, cost overrun, and quality risk? We have independent RICS surveyors and contract managers who ensure the management of the sites, and also work with us very closely and the contractors team to ensure that we manage and mitigate all of the risks associated with development projects. Obviously, it is, you know, a pretty large scale activity, but going forward, you know, there's a lot of work that has gone in and a lot of lessons that have been learned throughout the processes so far, that we would ensure deals going forward are managed, and you know, that risk is managed with any of the development deals that we have going forward. But yeah, it's just ensuring that we have the right expertise in place to ensure that, you know, we're managing the risks correctly. Okay, I mean, that seems to be it in terms of the questions on the chat. I'll leave it there and open for a minute or two just as make some closing statements. Want to obviously thank everybody for joining today. We hope that this has been informative. As mentioned, there are the team available across all of the social media platforms, the platform itself, to ask any other questions that you may have. As I said, there are some new investment opportunities becoming available in the next couple of weeks, so keep your eye out for those. Hopefully, we would like to see, following this, a bunch of new signups and a whole host of new investors, with anyone that's enjoyed and understood what we're doing. Thank you very much for your time again. I hope the rest of Ramadan is as expected for everybody, and that everyone has a fantastic Eid at the end of it. Thank you again for your time. This is obviously being recorded and will be posted online as well, so please feel free to share it within your network. And we hope to see you soon on your investment journey with us. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Have a restful day.